everyone. Thank you so much for standing with me and encouraging me with your valuable suggestions and beautiful comments.
Our channel, Talented Women Creative Ideas, is introducing a new program called It's My Story, There Is a Life in It. In this program, women who have faced life challenges and struggles will speak to you about their experiences. We hope that these stories will be a source of great encouragement for everyone who watches.
Today we are going to meet a lady who had gone through such a terrible turmoil in her life. She carried a heavy burden in her heart and she bore excruciating physical pain, and despair washed over her. And she felt that she was in the middle of the desert and tsunami engulfed her. But she stood and forced herself to come out of the pit of the melancholy. And now her life is abundance of joy, and she is spreading that all over. Friends, she is coming to encourage each and every one of us. Do you want to know about her story? Then watch this full video. You may get encouraged by this story.
She is Mrs. Smita Dodamani. She has done her MSc MED and she is working as a teacher and also a counselor for the couples and the women.
I am glad to be in this channel. I hope my words would encourage everyone who is watching this channel. So I would like to start my story from my childhood. Now every woman has a childhood. So I would like to share with you all a little bit about my childhood, and then I'll go on. My childhood was very exciting. I grew up in a nuclear family where mother, father and 3 siblings. I had my mother and father working in the education department. My mother was a science teacher and my father was a joint director in education department. So my life was like fun-filled, playing always with the boys at home because all the 3 siblings were boys. We were playing, I was always playing with them. Then I used to play all boy games like cricket, lagori, climbing the trees and buildings, jumping from the building, and so many naughty things along with them. I would like to share 2 unforgettable incidents that happened in my childhood. First thing was, I was climbing a tree along with my brothers and my neighbor friends. So when I was climbing a tree, I put my leg on one branch and that branch broke and it came down. I was just holding on to that branch and I was crying out for help. Then my younger brother came and he started shaking that branch all the more, and I was so scared and started screaming loudly for the help. And finally my neighbors and my elder brothers, they came and rescued me. So that was a thing, unforgettable incident that happened in my life. And next thing is, as usual, we were playing cricket outside my home, and beside my home was the zoo. I lived in a place called Bellary, which resides in Karnataka, and just opposite to my home was zoo. So one day we were all playing and suddenly ball went to one place. When the ball went, my brother ran to get the ball and suddenly he noticed there was cheetah sitting near the water tank. And he was so scared suddenly when he saw that live cheetah, he left that ball there, he came running, and we all were able to see live cheetah on the roads in Bellary. So we ran from there, we entered into our homes, from window we started peeping out, and it was such a great excitement for us. And then after some time we saw the zoo officials coming and taking the cheetah away from that place. And then as usual I grew up, I went to college and I finished my college days. And then from the age 23 I started praying for my husband. I wrote in one book how my husband has to look like. I only was thinking at the outer appearance. I need to have a husband who is tall, handsome. And then I had so many things about my husband. I want this kind of person and that kind of person. But I never realized that I want a person who is good in his nature. I didn't think about it. And as the days went on, I kept on praying. Proposals came and they went far off. And then finally one day I met my husband in one auntie's house. The moment I saw him, he looked at me and he said, I actually had tied sari and gone there. He looked at me and said, I don't like you wearing sari. I thought first time I'm meeting him, and then he's saying, why did you tie the sari? I don't like. And then I just said, as usual, it's our Indian custom that we tie sari. So that's why even I wore sari today. Okay, then that went on. And then we had a long discussion. In between he said, I don't like you wearing jewelry, because he was working in Kerala, Kottayam IPC seminary where they don't wear jewels. He said, I don't want you to wear jewels. So that was the time he was asking me so many questions, and that time went on. And then we left there. My brother had taken me to that auntie's house and we left. By the time I could reach home, I got a call from my husband that he is ready to get married to me. But my parents and all, they said, see, he doesn't want me to wear jewelry. So in our customs, the person who don't wear jewelry is the one who loses their husband. So they said, no, we are not interested in that proposal. So it went off, cut off there itself. Then after 2-3 months, I think my husband approached that auntie and asked what happened, why. They said no. They said, no, you asked her not to wear jewels, so they are not interested. Then immediately he resigned the job from that Kottayam, and he came down to Bangalore, and he said, no matter what she wears, I don't have any problem with. Okay, after we got married, I got married to my husband, and I had to face few challenges in my married life. My husband grew up in an orphanage and I grew up in a family environment. After I got married to him, there are few challenges that I was not able to relate to him, because the way he grew up was different from the way I grew up. And he didn't know how to relate with the family members at home, and there were so many challenges that I had to face, including the finances, a financial struggle and all that we went through. But amazingly, the understanding between us made life smooth. We went on with a wonderful journey for 2 years. After 2 years, I always used to dream about being a mother, experience motherhood. Then I thought, I want to have this experience. I told my husband. So we planned to have one child, and I conceived that month. And it was so excitement for me. I was just thinking how my baby will look like. I took one book, I started writing, my baby's hair must be curly like me, and my face round face like me, and fingers must look like my husband. And there's so many things that I had written about my child. I've written on that, and every day I was imagining and I was praying about it, that I want to hold that child and I want to feel that the baby in my hand. For example, if you buy a gift to a child and you keep that gift at the corner of the house and tell that child, I'm going to give this gift on your birthday. Every day the child will be looking at that box and looking, okay, another 1 more day, 2 more days. The child will be counting days to open and see that box. Same was my situation. I was anticipating when my delivery date is going to come and when am I going to see this beautiful gift that is there in my womb. So the time came finally for me to deliver. I delivered this baby boy through normal delivery. After I delivered, the baby looked exactly like how I had written in that book. He had curly hair, round face, long hands, and there are so many things that I had written. The same way this baby was born. After this baby was born, I was so happy that finally I am able to see this gift which was hidden in my womb for 9 months. Then, within 3 hours of my delivery, I was taken to the room from the birthing suite, and after I went there, my husband came to me with the dead child. The moment I saw the child, I really felt all my dreams, my imaginations, it was just broken into pieces and they were falling down in front of me. I didn't realize what was happening around me. I'm just looking at the baby, and within no time they took the baby away from me. I was not able to even hold that baby in my hands and see, like, it just happened. They took the baby away from me, and it was such a painful situation. I pray that no lady will go through this pain that I went through. And then after a few days, I was taken to my native. I went over there, and there I had to go through tough time in that place. My neighbor girls, both of them, they had delivered their babies, and both the babies used to constantly cry for bathing or for the milk or whatever it is. Whenever I used to hear that cry, my whole body used to start, like, feeling somewhat like, where is my baby? I'm looking out, like, there's no baby in my lap or my hands, but I can still hear the cry of the baby. It was such a pathetic situation that I went through. Like 40 days I was not able to stay in that place. Slowly somehow I moved out of that place, and I came back to Bangalore. And after coming here also, it took long time for me to come out of it. But I thought, like, I was imagining for the next child. Consulting doctors, after lots of prayer, my husband and I thought, okay, we'll go for the second child. We thought of having another child, and I conceived, and I was very happy about it. But this time I was very careful, and because I had blood pressure from the starting of my pregnancy, eating food or maybe going to the hospital, going for my scans, everything went on perfectly. There was no problem at all. I enjoyed my pregnancy, the second pregnancy. And when the time came for my delivery, the doctor said, let's have a C-section. I said, no. My husband said, no, let's not go for C-section, we'll go for normal delivery. But I was telling, I was anxious to look at the baby. I wanted to carry that baby, feel that baby. Then when my time came for the delivery, after I delivered, the boy was so handsome and beautiful. I just can't imagine. The boy cried, and when they showed me, I felt so happy about it. Then immediately they took the child to the ICU to give that intensive care for that little baby. Then I was so happy imagining things, and I was in the bed, and the next day afternoon, after 16 hours, I got the same news that the baby had gone. The baby died. Just sitting in the midst of a desert, where far off, if I look also, there's only dry land that I could see. I was in a very pathetic situation. I thought that was the end of my life. I cannot go further. I decided, tonight when I'm sleeping, slowly I want to get out from my bed. I want to jump from the hospital bed and die. So that night I tried my best to get up from my bed. Because of the C-section, I could not get up from my bed. The pain was so severe, I couldn't get up, and that's how I never took that step to die. But one thing that I noticed, like, when I saw far off the desert, I realized at one point, definitely beyond the desert there will be greenery. Definitely every desert will have greenery beyond that. So I was imagining definitely I think I'll go to that greenery one day. And somehow I encouraged myself again for the second time. Tremendously, God sent few people to encourage me, to bring me out of that pain that I went through. My husband stood strong with me in every second, every moment of my life. He was the one who was relating to me and encouraging me to come out of this tough phase that I went through. By God's grace, the second pregnancy also I came out with great difficulty. So, like after the second pregnancy, I thought I will never conceive again. I didn't wanted to bear this child again. And as the days went by, 2 years, it took a long time for me to come out of it. But yet I decided I will come out of it, and somehow God helped me to come out of it. After I came out, then we consulted many doctors. All my reports, I went to Australia and they also interpreted, they checked, and the specialists, gynecologists, they also looked at my reports. At least 5-6 of them looked at my reports, and they said everything is perfectly fine, and we don't understand what was the problem for the death of your 2 children. Now you can go for the 3rd child. But my husband and I, we took some time to go for it. We prayed, we fasted and prayed, we sought help from doctors. And finally I conceived for the 3rd time, and this time it was like, there was fear one side, at the same time there was hope one side. So every day I had to take 5 injections. One injection was so painful. The moment I injected on my body, that whole area used to become black in color, and I had lots of pain on my body. It took days for that black thing to go away from my body. We spent a lot of money taking the scans for the child, and every time I went for the scan report said everything is perfectly fine, the baby is fine, everything is perfectly fine. In my heart, deep in my heart, I was praying, I don't want to have boy, because I already lost 2 boys. I don't want to lose a 3rd one. I always had that intuition in my mind, there was a boy, the 3rd one was a boy, but yet I didn't wanted to accept it. I was thinking, no, I don't want to go through the same process of losing a child. But yet with lots of encouragement, and there were so many people praying for us. Every day one couple was fasting and praying, standing with me in prayer, and my friends were calling and encouraging. It was such a great experience carrying this child throughout the pregnancy. I was monitored, I was taken care of, I was eating a lot, and so many things that happened. But at the same time, I was always speaking to that baby in the womb, and the baby also was so excited always. And then the pregnancy went on as usual, and when it came to the 9th month, when I went for the scan, there it appeared there was a little thickness of the heart walls of this baby. Then I realized, I'm sure this 3rd one also is going to leave me. But still I felt, no, God, I want your help. I want you to help me somehow to give birth to this child, and I want to hold this child in my hands. The 3rd time also was a C-section, and after C-section this boy came out. He was so active, and he was crying to the top of the voice, and he was moving his hands and legs. By looking at that, I was very happy. I realized the first 2 babies never did this, and this 3rd one is so active and so enthusiastic. I know this boy will live with me. And then he was taken to the ICU, and I had the privilege to go see this child, talk to this child, and whenever I went, I spoke to him. He used to give me a nice smile, and it was great experience. But one day when I went, the doctor said this baby has developed kind of something called acidosis that is spreading in his body, that we are not able to stop. Then finally this 3rd child also left me, and this time it was so traumatized for me. I felt as if I was sitting under a tsunami and the water had fully engulfed me. I felt there was no hope at all for me. I've come to the end where there is no beginning at all. I felt like, I'm going to end everything. Like, there's no life beyond this. I can't be a mother. Why should I live in this world? There are so many negative things that used to come in my mind. And but still, somehow, again, my friends and my husband was a strong tower for me. He helped me to come out of this tough phase that I went through in my life. I know every woman has one thing or the other that they are going through in their lives. I know every woman is going through the desert experience. Every woman is going through tsunamis in their life. But after every tsunami, definitely there is calmness. And after every desert, I already told you, there is greenery. Okay, when I lost this third child, I was like, I was not interested to talk to anyone. I used to just take a newspaper, and from the first page till the last page, I used to start reading the paper and get engrossed in reading the newspaper for almost 2 to 3 hours. And somehow I used to try to come out of that pain that I was into. So one day, in the front page itself, I read one story that changed my life. I read one story that there was one couple here in Bangalore. That couple, they got married, and within 3 months of their marriage, his wife conceived. And then husband said, no, we are newly married. I don't want to have this child. Get it aborted. But this lady, she said, no, we'll have this one child, and after that, let's not plan for the child at all. Then he said, no, all our dreams and all this thing is shattered. We don't want to have that child. Please take that child out. But somehow there was some argument going on between them. And finally the days went on till the 7th month. And then this lady had to go to her hometown, that is Chennai, for the delivery. She went over there, but still they used to talk over the phone and all that. And after 9 months, she gave birth to a baby girl. After she gave birth to the baby girl, she called her husband and said, I gave birth to a girl. Please come and see me. Then husband also was stuck here in Bangalore with his official work. He was a software engineer. And then on third day, when the wife was discharged to her home, he went to Chennai. He was sitting outside in the hall, and wife was inside. She was nursing the child, and then postnatal care was taken care for this lady. She was inside, and then this husband was so desperate, sitting outside, and he wanted to go inside, but he was not able to do. And then finally he got so angry, that anger was built up within him, that he ran inside the room where his wife was. He took that baby girl, he came running out, and he threw that baby girl into the well. After this baby fell into the well and died, I couldn't imagine what must have been the situation of this lady. She lost her child, the child who didn't have any problem, the child was perfectly fine, and the husband was taken to the jail. She was all alone facing the child, left her, and the husband also left her. Then I realized the situation that I was in was much, much better when compared to the lady who was going through the tough phase with no husband and no child with her. I said, I'm so privileged. God has given me a husband who can understand and who can take program. God amazingly works in our life. And after 1 year of my painful time, God amazingly brought Samuel into our lives. He's such a loving child and a caring one. He has brought the joy into our lives. I just would like to introduce my son to you all. So this is my son, Samuel. So he's such a wonderful child and a loving child. I thank God for giving him into my life. Okay, now I just want to give you little encouraging words for the women so that it will really help you all to come out from the situation that you are in. First thing is, once you are married to a family, keep in your mind God orchestrates the life partner for you in your life. And don't think that I have ended up in a wrong family and I have come to a person like whom I don't like. God has brought you into that place, and always keep in your mind you need to get along with what is being given to you. Try to adjust yourself with the environment that is in that family. Change yourself, and definitely you will see a great joy that comes into your life. And second thing is, like, I know many of you all have lost your loved ones, and you must be in a hopeless and a helpless situation. When you are helpless, I suggest you help someone. You will come out of that helpless situation. And someone said, we cannot do great things, but we can do small things with great love. Blake Lively said, the most beautiful thing that you can wear on yourself is confidence. Don't think about the misery that you are going through in your life. I know after every darkness there is definitely light. So that every woman that goes through this tough phase will definitely come out with great confidence. I have gone through this tough phase in my life, but I am 100% sure that I have been crushed for the fragrance that I am giving it to others. Whenever a family is going through tough phase, a loss of their loved ones, or any lady who has lost a little baby after the baby is born, I can quickly relate to the pain that lady is going through. I call them and I encourage them, and that I am definitely sure that really helps them to come out of the situation they are in. I hope that these words of encouragement will bring you positivity into your day and bring you a step closer to achieving your goals. Thank you.
Wow, it's wonderful, amazing life story of yours, Akka. I have encouraged a lot. I have been encouraged a lot, and I hope even to others. If you want to encourage women with one word, what would be that word?
Accept and face the reality in your life.